A solid, tax-paying, God-fearing, mother-loving, apple pie, hot dog, baseball mother citizen. And you're chuckling like I'm joking.
The average man is invisible to women. Here are their stories. Episode 3. Access Granted.
Expectations are far too high for where you rank. You'd be very well off to get a guy who's earning $45,000 to $50,000 and go off and have a couple of kids. I mean, this is your life.
Oh my God.
I mean, and so hold on. And this is what I need to. I'm talking about a man who's a solid, decent man. I'm not talking about a bum. I'm talking about an average working man who works hard for his money.
Okay.
A solid, tax-paying, God-fearing, mother-loving, apple pie, hot dog, baseball mother citizen. And you're chuckling like I'm joking. I don't play when I'm talking about the men I respect and advocate for. And you ladies think just because you're making a little bit more money, you can laugh at these men. That's some bullshit. Especially when you're average. And you are below average. And get off my, no. Take a break because I'm going to calm down. Nope, absolutely not.
Shout out to the Godfather, R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. It amazes me that we see this time and time again, that average women do not want or simply think they are above average men. We see it on all the dating shows, street interviews, and podcasts. That average men are just invisible in society.
So keeping all this in mind, the way that you just painted your life, what would your husband's income be?
Like 200,000 plus.
Probably like 100K and up.
Like 80K.
Okay.
His income should be something close to about 160,000.
I would like to say maybe 100,000
Okay.
at least. You'd have to be rich, unfortunately. This is so high, but I guess you'd have to be like a millionaire. You'd have to be like a millionaire.
Well, on this channel, we give average men a voice to tell their side of the story, positive or negative. And based on the first 2 episodes, this series is going to be here to stay. So let's hear what our average guys have to say. So here's the first comment. While I consider myself an average guy, in most ways I could be considered above average. I made it to about 5'11", which is taller than the average of 5'9". But because I didn't make it to 6 foot, I'm considered short by most women. While I do make 100K a year, which is far over the average, which is about 45, but because I can't spend wildly and live within the budget, I'm considered poor. While I work out, have an average about 18% body fat, which is a pretty good range, anywhere between 10 or 20%, I'm not in the category of fat or obese, but because I can't show 6-pack abs, I'm not considered to be in shape. So as I said, in most ways I'm above average, but I'm still completely invisible to women. This next comment I actually responded to. My problem is that most women just ignore me. That's it. I try talking to them at work, and they just give me one-word answers and brush me off. Sounds minor, but it kind of digs at you after a while, time after time. It's a very big problem for me, and I'm struggling to learn how to deal with it. Some weeks are good, and some weeks are not. So my response to Mr. James Russell was, I've gone through that too. But if you get your money right and you travel overseas, you will have a totally different experience. What you see online from expats and passport bros are not an exaggeration. I've never gotten respected and treated better than when I lived in South Korea. I lived in South Korea for about 1.5 years. Women were beautiful, kind, and very respectful. Even when they weren't interested, they were still very respectful about it. Get your passport. If this is your first time on this channel, just know I am pro getting your passport and traveling overseas. Not necessarily to find love, but what you will find is that you'll have a better experience with women in general. Out of all the women in the world that are 18 to 45, only 4% live in the US. That means you are missing out on meeting over 90% of the women in that category. So this next comment I responded to as well. He says, I don't know if I'm below average. I make close to 110K a year as a transportation driver, but I guess the big knock against me is that I'm not sure how tall I am since I've spent my life as a paraplegic. I think I do okay for myself, I just do what I gotta do. I don't involve myself with women much except for that one good relationship. Women loathe my existence. Maybe I should go overseas. And my response to him is I highly recommend you go overseas and explore the world. Basically, I'm not sure how, tough it is to transfer or be, transportation, going back and forth overseas as a paraplegic, but I'm pretty sure there are countries outside of the US that can handle that and accommodate your needs. And I would explore that. I would check out the world. I would meet people in other countries. You would be surprised how your existence isn't deemed as unnecessary or a burden to people who can appreciate you as a man in general. So get your passport, man. So this last comment states, hey, average guy here. Can confirm life is brutally unfair, especially because of dating. I can guarantee with 100% certainty if most women woke up in my shoes, they wouldn't make it 3 days. Everything is stacked up against you as a man, and the complete ignorance and favoritism that women show for only the top lucky guys in society is something that takes a real emotional toll, and the moral growth to be able to deal with. Certainly not anything women would be able to do. I'm not surprised that he mentioned that because we've all seen the reports in the articles and the videos about Nora Vincent, the woman who pretended to be a man for I think a year and a half to 2 years, and she went into deep depression. She really found out what it's like to be invisible in society, to be treated like a villain before you even get to know someone. And so with that, I would say that's more into American and westernized culture more than it is women in general. So, you know what I'm going to say. Get your passport. Travel. There's no reason to stay in a place to where you feel that you aren't wanted and appreciated. Travel the world. See what other places there are out there. The grass can be greener on the other side. So I'll leave you with this. This next video is a young lady giving you some places that you can go to in Latin America to where you can find a more traditional woman and traditional lifestyle. Remember, all resources, video resources, will be in the description below, so you can check out those channels.
Passport goes there and overseas. You being from South American descent, what do you think are the countries that men could go to get the most traditional woman in Latin America?
In Latin America.
Yeah.
Well, I would say to rule out a few places, Mexico and Puerto Rico, because I feel like it's some aspects of those countries have gotten very Americanized. So I would say get out, don't go there to look for it. But I feel like anywhere outside of there or out of there would be good, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Peru, Ecuador, Chile, countries like that I think would be really, really great. Just the ones that don't follow American standards, and I feel like so much of that has changed in Puerto Rico, and also in Mexico. I just had someone that I work with, he went to Mexico for a trip, and it was so easy for him to date there, because when he goes to these countries, he changes his dating apps to filter where he is, and he said a lot of the women that he was meeting in Mexico reminded him of the women here in America, and he was actually able to get with a lot of them on his trip because of that. So I would say those are the ones you probably want to stay away from.
Okay, so Mexico and Puerto Rico are becoming Americanized, you feel like. But yeah, Dominican Republic, you know what time it is. Colombia, you know what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the values these women do have over there that make it a little different? Besides just not being Americanized, what do you think is the difference in general?
So, like, I think one of the biggest things is that, like, over there, like, let's say, like, Colombia or, like, Peru, for example, they're not in tune with a lot of things that, like, America is doing. Like, they're so separated from that, so they're still holding true to, like, their values of their upbringing. Whereas in those other places that I just mentioned, a lot of what is from America is getting infused into that. So I would say, like, the traditional values of women in terms of, like, what they wear, how they cater to men, in relationships, like cooking, cleaning, because, like, we even mentioned before, like, music, right? Like, that's being mainstream to, like, a lot of places like Mexico, like Puerto Rico, and, like, because of this music, a lot of people are being influenced, women are being influenced to act a certain way, to be a certain way. Women take action on that, and they start doing those things, especially listening to some of the people that are out there. So that just changes their whole structure of, like, how they live. So that's why that's, like, one of the biggest things that I would say to, like, stay away from. Because I feel like aside from, like, what they do, it also changes, like, their sexual behavior. Because, like, my the guy that I work with said, like, he was able to get with a few of these women on his trip, whereas I think that would have been a lot harder for him if he went to another country, because you would have had to, like, actually invest and, like, work towards something. Right. Because a lot of it's, like, if you are going to go to Colombia, like, you're gonna have to invest and show someone something in order to get something, right? Because that's how women are raised. Versus he got it pretty easy when he went to Mexico.
Right, because they're kind of like how it is in America. There's girls looking to hook up, you know, they want to get those body counts out.
Yeah.
So if you like this video and you like this content, please go ahead and subscribe to support the channel, as well as hitting the like button and that bell notification icon so you never miss any of our videos. And remember, guys, we are all in this together.